People are busy. Our lives keep us going constantly. We all have hectic schedules, and it's very difficult to make time not only for our physical well-being, but for our mental well-being as well. Our day-to-day lives keep us moving constantly, and we don't make time for ourselves the way that we should. We take time through diet and exercise to take care of our bodies, but a lot of the times our mental health and well-being goes neglected. A great way to help accommodate your mental well-being in your schedule is through the practice of yoga. Yoga is a great way of combining physical, mental, and spiritual well-being into one exercise that happens all at the same time, rather than chopping up and dividing your schedule into more things. I've practiced yoga for 12 years and taught yoga for 2 years, and adding this to my schedule has helped greatly in my own personal well-being, and I feel that in the people that I've seen in my own classes and the classes I've participated in, it's helped them as well. A great way to understand more about yoga is to look at its roots through Hinduism, and you can also find many resources here in Lincoln for accessible and affordable access to yoga classes. A better way to understand more about yoga as we know it today in a modern context is to look at its Hindu roots. Hinduism originated during the Vedic period in the subcontinent of India, where it is primarily practiced there as a religion of that population, around the year 1750, according to an Encyclopedia Britannica article on Hinduism. Hinduism as we know it today in its modern context began in 1850. There are many ways in which Hinduism carries over into the modern practice of yoga. There are several different studios which focus not only on the physical aspects of that yoga offers to a person, but also what it can do for you mentally. Some of the way that they accomplish that is by incorporating aspects of the Hindu religion into the class. A great example of this is the use of words such as namaste, shanti, and the vocalization om. Namaste is a word that in contemporary Indian society is typically used as a greeting that means hello, although the actual interpretation of that goes much deeper. There are a range of interpretations to how we would translate that in English, ranging from I bow to the divine in you to the light in me sees the light in you. Namaste is often used at the very beginning and end of every class, as well as the word shanti, which is Sanskrit for peace. This is typically repeated 3 times at the beginning of the class, as well as at the end, to keep you in an appropriate frame of mind. Here we have the symbol for the sound Om. Om is a sound which represents the entirety of the universe, everything that is, was, and will be. It is a vocalization used in Hindu prayer, and often used throughout the yoga practice at the beginning and end as sort of an opening and closing to the practice. Yoga also uses Hinduism and its meditative aspects with physical movement as well. An article on meditation states that the specific purpose of meditation is to help the individual focus more on what they're doing in the present rather than being distracted by outside things, such as what happened earlier in their day or what might happen after they're done with their practice. The purpose of the meditation and reciting things such as Om is to keep you in the moment. Yoga classes use poses in addition to meditation, to help the individual focus more on their physical and mental well-being. Yoga provides people with the same benefits of exercise as any other exercise would, where you are able to burn calories and stretch your muscles, lengthen your muscles. The breathing techniques used in yoga are designed to reduce your heart rate through slowing your breathing down and keeping you focused on where you are in the moment. The physical ways that we use yoga are through poses. Poses are typically used in a flow and designed by the instructors to keep the students moving throughout the class rather than being stationary. They vary from class to class, And oftentimes the instructor or studio will cater the class to the specific audience, such as senior citizens who would typically practice only in a chair due to physical constraints, or small children, where you would rename the poses from their Sanskrit name to something that makes sense to a child, like turtle or superhero. Some examples of stationary poses. So poses are used for the meditative purpose of keeping the individual focused. The flow poses do that through keeping you busy and moving from one thing to the next, and keep you from thinking too long on outside experiences. Stationary poses seek to do that same thing through keeping you still and focused only on what you're doing at that exact moment, and give the individual an opportunity to focus more on their breathing and meditation. Some examples of stationary poses are Tadasana, which translates into mountain pose. You literally just stand like a mountain. And that is the purpose of the pose, to have the individuals in the class be there in that frame at that time, just standing. Another example of a stationary pose is Vrksasana, which translates into tree pose. This is another example of how classes can change, not just from group of people to people, but from person to person within the class, for how it can suit your individual needs and your own experience level. Tree pose starts out from Tadasana and has you gradually transfer your weight onto one leg. Depending on your level of experience with yoga or balance in general, or any injuries you may have, that could mean that this is your tree pose here, or just up to your calf. Or it could mean that your leg goes all the way up to your hip, crossing over like this. Or maybe you're even so balanced and focused you're able to close your eyes while standing on one leg in this pose for an extended period of time. Another example of a stationary pose is Shavasana, which translates into corpse pose. This is typically how classes end, where you just lie on your mat in peaceful rest, where you have cleared your mind throughout the practice and are ready to just lay there being and not thinking of anything, just existing in yourself. Yoga is also extremely beneficial to managing your stress. Yoga classes typically last about 60 minutes, and that gives you time to not only exercise physically, but also to decompress mentally. A recent article stated that people who are stressed out are more susceptible to illness and get sicker more easily. So decreasing stress from your life is a great way to stay healthy. You miss work less, you're a happier person, and your well-being is all around better. Another way that yoga helps you focus is through the use of mudras. Mudras are different positions with your hands. At the beginning of classes, you typically start in a seated position with your hands on your knees. Different mudras have not only different specific purposes with poses throughout the class, but they also have a general frame of mind that they put you in. So starting your class with this mudra, which is associated with knowledge, helps the individuals in the class open up their minds to the new experiences that they're going to have. Another mudra is one that's associated with earth and grounding, where it is essentially the same thing, but rather than your index finger touching your thumb, it is your ring finger. Lots of instructors will use this during changes of seasons or when it's a stressful time of the year, such as holiday shopping or tax season. Keeps you grounded. Another example of a mudra is the Namaste mudra, where your hands are touched palm to palm, held in front of your chest. This is often used along with the word namaste at the beginning and end of every session, as well as during the tree pose, which we saw earlier. Yoga is also, so all of these wonderful things that come from yoga will lead yoga studios to putting a heavy premium on access to these classes. Fortunately, there are a lot of affordable options and many local options within the Lincoln community. There are many gyms in town, such as the YMCA and Lincoln Racquet Club, which offer group classes along with their normal monthly membership dues. The wonderful thing about these classes is if you're not seeking anything more related to Hinduism or the spiritual aspects, they typically gear these towards people who are athletes or physically active in specific ways, such as running, or many gyms will also have yoga classes for women who are pregnant, and it focuses on poses that are good for prenatal exercise and safe for the expecting mother. There are several studios in town who also focus more on the spiritual aspects of the classes. These memberships are higher, but several of them have one free class a week or one free class every month. In addition to being able to practice yoga here in Lincoln, you can also do so through your own home and on your own time. There are several YouTube stations which exist that post videos for at-home yoga class practice. These are frequently associated with things such as the Yoga Journal magazine, or people who own studios in different towns will post videos so you can, in a sense, practice with them remotely. There are also numerous books and videos available for you to purchase and use as you please. In addition to books that detail poses, there are also books that go through different meditations to focus on during your practice, small mantras to repeat, to keep yourself focused on what you need to be thinking of more than your distractions. So not only is yoga beneficial to your physical, mental, and spiritual well-being, it is also easily accessible. It gives us a great cross-culture reference to another part of the world and an ancient religious practice. And it is a fun way to keep your body and mind healthy at the same time.